This one misunderstanding almost kept my client from moving forward into the path that is truly aligned for him, both spiritually as well as business strategy. And so I want to share, I wrote a email about it a few days ago, and I want to share this with you because it's something that I've seen other people kind of misunderstand this as well. And so it's about, I'm using the red frequency. So let's, you know what? Let me go back here, talk to you for face to face here. Red frequency. That's what I'm using. The red frequency, what the heck is it? It is the thing within you that comes so effortlessly and naturally that you probably don't even realize it's such a powerhouse strength for you. It's so easy and effortless that you may not even notice it. But here's the thing, other people do. They notice it, and that's the first thing they notice. You know, like that essence that somebody has when they walk into the room and you just get a sense of them? It's that. And in our offers, though, we end up putting our lived wisdom, our experiences, our skill sets we've developed, and, you know, our knowledge. And that's a value. And that's what we're ultimately selling. And the thing is, it's not the thing that first attracts people to you, though. They want something that feels a little bit lighter, a little bit more effortless. That thing that perks up their unconscious self before their conscious mind actually hears it. And that is the red frequency, that unconsciousness signal that we all pick up on before we realize, hey, are they talking to me? You know, it's kind of like, imagine the red frequency as, I feel like someone's looking at me. And then you look, you know, consciously, like it comes up. You feel it before you say it, if that makes sense. And so I've been making these reports, these ideal client human design reports that help somebody identify their frequency. And what I like about human design as a tool is it gives those felt things, those nonverbal, those things that are hard to put into words. It gives a framework of language to be able to use with it. And I use the centers in human design as a way of getting you to your red frequency, because normally what's in our core programs are our undefined centers, the things that we've learned, we've had to learn because they didn't come so easily. But your defined centers becomes the playground for where we might find your red frequency. And each one of us has anywhere from, there are some people who have none defined, and that creates a whole different strength set of skills. But the rest of us, we somewhere have between, probably between like 2 to 7 or so for a lot of us defined. And it's figuring out which of those centers is the lead frequency. And we match it up to your offer, to your ideal client, and to you. And then I've created a system to translate that into words so that you can put it in your content. So my focus is, how do we get your content both in strategy, which you probably already have a ton of that already that you can use, and frequency, your red frequency. So it's resonant. So it really connects with somebody unconsciously before they consciously do it. And that means that there's a felt connection. And versus if we go with our mind first, there's still a disconnect. I can hold it here, but I'm not feeling it here. And so this is the easy path to do it. So I want to share something that I wrote in an email about somebody that I was working with recently. And one of the things that he had a little bit of was, is he really going to fit in? And so if I really share all of what I do, it won't fit in here. He was looking to write for on LinkedIn to package his leadership package there, but he has a really interesting combination of classic way that we think about leadership and some other like more spiritual ways, a little bit of trippy ways, some, off the beaten path kind of ways of bringing all of this together. But he wanted to make sure it fit into the thing. And so one of the things when we went through, I was like, it's hands down. It was so obvious from what he was talking about and then seeing his design, solar plexus was going to be his place. That was going to be the red frequency where everything was going to come from. Not just because he has, a spiritual component in there or a creative component. So we think of the solar plexus as our emotional intelligence. I always think of it as the birth of creativity. It's innovation. It's something new comes about, and there's a lot of emotion with that. So sometimes I describe it as birthing my son, or I'll describe it as like an epic movie. Like think of an underdog movie. The one that always comes to mind to me because I love it so much is Hoosiers, and with Gene Hackman and the underdog story, and you feel the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows and the wins and sometimes not wins, and it's a little bit of all of that, and that described a lot of what he actually is doing in his program. But there was a whole bunch of other things in his program that he was doing that was very mindset driven too, and also survival, like base fears, like how we calm our nervous system. Those are different centers. He really is blending a couple of centers in the work here. And some of those other centers he did not have defined. And so, of course, it became the core of everything. But the reason why I ended up picking this, first of all, he has it defined. It's something that came so effortlessly. And then he talked about the how they really are kind of recreating themselves. And not necessarily a brand new identity per se, but how they are recreating themselves in their current role. So it wasn't, his clients weren't people who were looking to get a new job. They weren't looking to start something. They were looking to become more of them and broaden their emotional capacity. And it's the things that he probably wouldn't put in a feature list on his offer. And I was not suggesting that he did. He doesn't even need to change what the offer is. I was just looking at the content level, the first step someone takes into your world. And so a lot of his content was what I call ajna led. It's more conceptual, it's logical, it's sequential, it made sense. It was hard to hold, to keep you after reading the words, especially selling a service that you were going to deeply feel, right? So there was a mismatch. Words strung together like a how-to, trying to evoke emotion-led choices. So that's where I kind of gave advice. And when we were meeting, he got his report and everything. And so this next sentence is about, we did a one-on-one afterwards. So you get support afterwards. I don't just like dump the report and leave. I want to help you with implementing it. I'm really here for the shifts in what you can do. And some people don't need much, and some people need to help to reconfigure what they're thinking. And so that's what I do. I offer support. And when I was talking about the solar plexus, he immediately identified with the spiritualness of what he's done. And he had done some retreats, and he was talking about, oh, maybe I need to do their emotional journey. And of course that could be a way. But when he was thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to describe someone's emotional journey, all of a sudden, this guy who seems so relaxed and so easygoing started to stop moving. His body wasn't moving very much. Eyes were looking down. It was clear that it was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be another thing that I have to try to fit into? And I don't know that this feels right. And so what I shared with him in this meeting was, hey, it doesn't have to be telling an emotional story. It can be. And it doesn't have to be every line in your post. It can be. But I shoot for roughly, somewhere between like 70 and 80% is how I kind of think about it. And sometimes one powerful solar plex led line can sustain for many other lines. And so we pulled out very specific lines and we worked on them. And we talked about how they can be reshaped, because this is really important for me to have true, tangible, actionable steps to actually see and experience how to do this, not just get some woo-woo thing and you're like, oh, that feels so good, I see myself, and then never do anything with it, because that's what's happened to me before. So here's the real tangible thing that we worked on. And so before, there was a line that he had, something she couldn't ignore anymore. So I was like, all you have to do is shift that, like her inner self was tapping her shoulder. Or maybe it's not even like her inner self was tapping her shoulder. That all of a sudden it changes it to, I couldn't ignore it anymore, which is living in your head, right? Your mind, to my inner self tapping. So I either feel it in my chest or I literally feel like somebody's tapping me here on my shoulder. So it's felt. The sentiment, the keynote is the same thing, but we experience it differently. And here was another one that came out of there was a bunch, but here's another one. She had everything on paper, but inside she was at a crossroads. And I think we all think about that, and that's so logical. But I also think of her as somebody way over here and I'm not connected with. And so the switch could be, her professionalism was seamless. And as soon as I say that, I think, yeah, I feel the flow. Versus she had everything on paper. I'm literally thinking about paper. I'm thinking about a document right in front of me, everything on paper. And I'm seeing that. And again, it's outside of me. Her professionalism was seamless. And that, to me, it helped me to see the professionalism that I am carrying was seamless to the outside. Like, those are the kind of the sense I get, like I'm stepping into it versus I'm looking at it. But inside, her stomach twisted, waiting for clarity that never came. And there's that stomach twisting, obviously, can provoke an emotion. We all think about, if your stomach twisted, you probably don't feel good. And waiting for clarity that never came, that waiting part. Like, I think we all resonate with that. So one describes, the other immerses. And it keeps you thinking about her, like, oh, all of a sudden I'm starting to see all the other things that are playing around. So when I read, she had everything on paper, I'm thinking about, oh, okay, so she probably has the title on the door. I'm thinking about things. She probably has the title on the door. She probably makes a good income. She probably owns a house. She probably has, this and that. And that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking, projecting out, right? Her professionalism was seamless. Now I feel like I'm experiencing, oh yeah, either, and most likely, if I'm the target, I know what that's like. Yeah, it looks like I'm all cool and got it all here. I know what that sense of something is. And then they both have, but inside, she was at a crossroads. Now I'm looking and I'm seeing, like, oh, left, right, up, down, whatever it happens to be. Got it. But when and I'm thinking, oh, is she looking for a new job? She's looking at the crossroads, but what's happening? Like, is anything else happening? And I kind of get cut off. It's like a movie that abruptly stops. But when I read her stomach twisted, waiting for clarity that never came, I feel it inside. Especially if I were the ICP, I would really feel this inside. Like, oh my gosh, yes. I remember back in the time when I was still working for another. And I had those times where, oh, I just felt like I don't want to be here. This is not for me. And then, and that sense of, will something come and save me? But it doesn't, because you got to save yourself. But I remember that, and it just evokes something. And I start thinking about, all the places that you might have looked for it and it wasn't there. And, or all the people you hoped would bring it and it didn't come, sort of thing, versus at a crossroads. So my goal here is today in this video is just to show, like, sometimes it's not, we don't have to change everything. And just because we're leading with our red frequency in the solar plexus doesn't mean that we have to talk about emotions. We can just add this felt movement to, some or all, anywhere in between our lines that we're using. And it brings somebody into your story. Like in a novel, when you're reading a novel, there's some where you always look like you're the observer, the one observing things. And there's others where you feel like you are that character. I mean, that's what the solar plexus is about. Not everybody has a red frequency that is the solar plexus. It's different for each person. And if you're not really sure on what yours is and you want some help, I've got Awaken Your Content is a free way of going through the process and seeing what might speak to you, what might be your red frequency. It's how I first started identifying my own. And there's a lead into human design. So if you pull your chart, then you can get a little bit of other information on that. And, if you want something, if you're like, I don't want to have to do that on my own, I just want somebody to look at me and help me find it, I'd be happy to do that for you as well.